Welcome, everyone. Sorry. Welcome, and thank you all for coming. We're very excited about our event this afternoon, and our theme for the accessibility is moving forward together, accessibility and inclusion for all. Our goal is a barrier-free Canada. And with that, I would like to welcome you all for our first ever accessibility party, if you will. And I would like to introduce His Worship Mayor Ellis, who will say a few words and do a land acknowledgement for us. Mayor Ellis?
I usually don't speak much from this podium, so I'm nervous today. But first of all, I'd like to thank everybody on the committee for your volunteerism. And it's tough when you have committee work, and it's great that you all are marching together. Barb speaks many times about you on council. If you ever want to watch it, you might put you to sleep. But Barb is a real champion, and Sean also. But first of all, I've got to start with the land acknowledgement that we are meeting today on the traditional territories of many nations. The municipality operates on the unceded and unsurrendered lands of our Indigenous peoples. We recognize and honor the historic relationship of the Indigenous peoples to this land and acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We recognize all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who call Belleville their home and support the need for cultivating a strong relationship with them. We look forward to fostering a path towards reconciliation and show respect for the Indigenous peoples who first lived and currently live on this land where we now all reside together. On behalf of Belleville Council, I would like to thank our Assistant Deputy Minister for Seniors and Accessibility, Minyu Strickland, and Associate Director of Outreach and Education Unit for the Ministry of Seniors Accessibility, Greg Colin, for joining us today to mark National Accessibility Week. Thank you to the committee here for all your hard work in pulling this together. Barb approached me months ago and said, can we do this? And I said, 100% Barb, and it's come to fruition today. It ensures Belleville's a community where all people have equal opportunity to participate in community life. The City of Belleville is fully committed to upholding our responsibilities under the Accessibility for Ontario's Disability Act of 2005. The multi-year accessibility plan is a great example of this. The plan outlines the city's strategy to remove and prevent barriers for those with disabilities for the next 5 years, with the 5 main focus areas of customer service, information and communications, employment, transportation, and built environment. The City and the Accessibility Advisory Committee are committed to creating an accessible city for all aspects. Once again, I would like to thank everybody here today and all our guests for joining us, and I'd like to call upon the Assistant Deputy Minister for Seniors and Accessibility, Minister Strickland, now to say a few words.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. My name is Mina Seekans. My pronouns and she and her, and I'm speaking to you from Treaty 13 lands. Congratulations to the Accessibility Advisory Committee, members, member of councils, and others who are joining us today. It's really an honor for me to bring you greetings on behalf of my ministry, but also as a person who has a disability herself. I am really pleased to be celebrating National Accessibility Week, where we can, highlight the contributions that people with disabilities make to your communities, our communities, and province of Ontario, as well as commemorate the week itself to remind us how far we have came and how much farther we have to go still. And I understand from my speaking with the council, from the committee chair, that this year is a special year for the committee as they are inaugurating new awards for the accessibility champions in their communities, as well as highlighting a number of accessibility initiatives that committee has been working on. So truly is a privilege to witness that and also supporting our municipal partners in their journey towards accessibility, as well as acknowledging their commitment to accessibility. My ministry is responsible for the implementation of AODA, as well as developing the standards, tools, and resources that our regulated entities, such as broader public sectors, such as municipalities, are implemented to make inclusive communities which are accessible and inclusive of all those with disabilities and their other seniors. As you know, that accessibility is just not that benefits people with disabilities. It benefits everyone in our communities. And AAC plays a very significant role in ensuring that municipal committees of Accessibility Advisory Committee not only advise the municipalities and the council to abide by the AODA obligations and AODA standards, but also they bring in their lived experiences of living within the community and give you a free of charge as volunteers their expertise that what the community's needs are. So when a council adopts the AODA compliance, but also listening to their committee members who have a vision for their communities that they have chosen to live in, I think it truly is a win-win strategy for everyone involved. My understanding is that your committee has been very active in meeting that mandate and exceeding it by making sure that they continue to make City of Belleville an accessible city for all. So I will stop here, and I will be meeting you soon through some question answers.
Thank you so much, Minister Seekand. Just before we start, I just wanted to say a few words, and then I want to give our minister a formal introduction. But before I do that, I just wanted to thank everybody again for attending, and thank you to Mayor Ellis for introducing our minister today. We're so glad that you've joined us, and we cannot wait to get to our question and answer period. But before I do, I just want to tell you all that this week is so very important to our Accessibility Advisory Committee of Belleville. Our committee's goal is to shine a spotlight on the needs of our community that live with challenges each and every day. It's our mission to bring awareness to everyone who invites the public to use, work, play, eat, be transported, and to partake in events at any type of location in the city, and tell them that there is much more work to do, and make our city accessible and inclusive for all. The Belleville Accessibility Advisory Committee is committed to making Belleville the best community in terms of accessibility for all, and making everyone feel that inclusiveness of our city. I'm so proud of this committee and some of the accomplishments we have made since 2022, but really we have just scratched the surface. The Belleville Accessibility Advisory Committee is comprised of two councillors, Councillor Sean Kelly and myself, our accessibility coordinator, Nicole Yancey, who unfortunately can't be with us today but is on the live stream, and 6 members from the public, the majority of who have lived experience that contribute their unique point of view and expertise towards making our community spaces and services accessible for all people. I would like to thank our committee members for their constant support and dedication, service, and introduce them to you. Councillor Sean Kelly, Jana Mutrickit Colton. Did I do that right, Jana? Yeah, close. Lorna Prevost, who couldn't join us today. Janet Richards, Jeremy Davis, Karen Kitchen, Richard Williams, and our newest member, Ann Carr. Thank you, Ann, for joining us. And of course, we could not do any of this without our fabulous Accessibility for Ontarians with Disability Act coordinator, Nicole Yancey, who is with us, as I said, by live stream. Nicole is the glue that binds us together, and she is our constant resource for all things accessibility. Without the knowledge, dedication, and genuine care for their fellow man from these individuals, we would not have been able to accomplish what we have. I must also give an honorable mention to Lucas Cuddy, who was to join us today, but I don't see Lucas here. And he completed his practicum here at the City Hall under Nicole Yancey's supervision, and he helped us on the committee and with many initiatives. And Lucas, next Tuesday, he'll graduate from Loyalist College in Social Service Work Program, so congratulations to Lucas. I would also like to thank our ALS interpreters today, mother and daughter duo, Jennifer and Dale Abel. Roughly 1 in 4 Ontarians live with a disability and face various types of barriers in their everyday life. This is why it is important to address daily barriers that people with disabilities face. It is the city's job to break down barriers and make our community accessible and inclusive for everyone. The Belleville Accessibility Advisory Committee is constantly trying to achieve this cultural shift. In order for us to achieve the goals of complete accessibility and inclusion in our community and to reach our full potential, accessibility and inclusion becomes a way of life and business. This is why our committee has selected areas to support and work on, such as mobility transit, accessibility parking, workshops for people with disabilities, highlighting disabilities and poverty in our community, employment for people with disabilities, and implementing the first ever Accessibility Excellence Awards, all of which we are so proud to share with you from each of our committee members and staff members. So without further ado, I do have the distinct privilege to introduce to you, whom you've already met, our Assistant Deputy Minister of Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Division at the Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility, Manu Seekend. Minister Seekend, an experienced C-suite leader within government, healthcare, corporate and nonprofit sectors, has led large organizations to dismantle ableism and racism by applying the inclusive, diversity, equity, and accessibility lens. Manu is the founder and CEO of Accessibility for All, AFA, which focuses on public education, campaigns to raise disability and diversity awareness, and human rights training to remove accessibility barriers strategically. Manu acquired a spinal cord injury shortly after she immigrated to Canada from India. She's used a wheelchair since and has experienced firsthand, and it's not the disability that disables people, but it's the inaccessible environment around them and the lack of support systems. Throughout her career, she has worked to build and strengthen the systems and public policies that allow people with disabilities to participate and thrive in their communities with dignity. Manu sat on the AAC chair for the City of Vaughan for 8 years, which she will be talking about today with us. Deputy Minister Seekend, welcome to Belleville and to our accessibility celebration, and we're so pleased to have you here. So thank you for joining us. We will have some questions for the minister, which we will ask that she answer for us, if that's okay. So, Minister, you served as the AAC chair for the City of Vaughan for a number of years. How did your role make an impact, and what do you see as the most important role of the AACs?
You know, only 4 years into all these virtual meetings, and we still managed to, speak with everyone with the unmute option. So thank you for this opportunity to join you on a very important week when we are talking about the contributions that volunteers with disabilities make to make our communities inclusive and accessible for everyone. So I think my experience as City of Vaughan Accessibility Advisory Committee Chair is something that I'm very, very proud of. Of course, the opportunity came by the requirements of the legislation itself, whereas every municipality is 10,000 or more resident is required to have an accessibility advisory committee to advise council members on accessibility and AODA related issues. But I think at City of Vaughan, we have accomplished in creating at least 3 multi-year plans as when I was the chair, and some 2 years when I was the member. We also initiated discussions on what accessibility means to City of Vaughan, which was at that time a emerging and developing subdivision just north of GTA. So we saw a lot of opportunities going beyond the obligations of AODA, but also uh, bringing council on board to help them understand the importance of creating a new city that will be able to meet the needs of changing demographics. As we know, the seniors were increasing in the communities, but also during the development phase, go above and beyond AODA specific requirements so we can build a city that will be sustainable for many, many decades to come. So I think that that's what, as my role, because I was working at Region of Peel as accessibility planning specialist for the Region of Peel. So my knowledge of AODA, but also my knowledge of the local community where I was living, and I was talking to my neighbors. I was talking to my mother, who happens to be elderly at that time, and through her senior group, understanding what a city like ours, which was a very multicultural, newly developing city, that we can bring the attention to the City of Vaughan mayor and council members. So my experience was very, very rewarded in a sense that I got personally to live in a city which was continuing to become and evolve as an accessible city. So, for example, when we built the community centers, we made sure as committee that they consider bringing in gym equipment, which is also accessible to those with disabilities or limited, mobility issues. It's very difficult sometimes to retrofit, but from the beginning of designing a city, we were able to influence those decisions and making it much more cost effective for the city to implement, and also create a city that will also meet the future needs of the population who was moving in to the city of Vaughan. So hopefully that helps you, that my professional personal experiences, how we were able to create a city that I could personally live, as a proud local member, but also professionally can influence the city where everybody who has chosen to call city home is able to live with full dignity, with full access to all these services, and the spaces that city has to offer.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much for that. As a municipality and as a city, we could probably share a lot of ideas with you and gain some of your insight into what you did in Vaughan. So thank you for that. And Minu, how is the MSSA working together with the AACs?
So as you heard me in previously saying in my welcome statement, or in the answer to the previous questions, that we see AACs a vital partner and are champions of accessibility in implementing the AODA at municipal level. Partnering with AAC is foundational to advancing the ministry's goal across the province. So we see the municipal AACs, or the BPS, broader public service sector AACs, as extension of our work at the local levels. So very, very important. In addition to attending events such as these, we also have a virtual network event for all AC members across Ontario that's being planned at the moment for early fall. We know that in speaking with AACs over the years, there are continual struggle in the orientation, training, and recruitment of members. We hope to provide some more insights through various speakers at the proposed network event. And many years ago, if you recall, if some of you were part of the municipal AAC at that time, that we at the MSAA at that time, the entity was called Accessibility Directorate of Ontario. We did the similar initiative where we will strengthen the competencies of accessibility advisory committees, bring in some resources and training to them so they can understand their role and be effective in a council-oriented place, because many of these members have never been part of the municipal process, how they can influence the decision, what is the process that need to take place in order for AAC to be effective in the council decision making. So those resources still exist if anybody needs it. I think Greg can organize those meeting materials or the network booklets if they're still needed. So we strongly believe that we need to take advantage of the volunteer offers that come through AAC's participation in the municipal government and strengthen them so the time they bring in or the time they volunteer can be utilized effectively and to influence the decisions that are made at local levels. Accessibility for Ontarians with Disability Division developed many other tools and resources to support AAC and obligated organizations. That being said, we are currently updating those materials, and your guide to serving on a municipal accessibility advisory committee is used at many levels among the AACs to orient their new members. So if you're not using it, I hope you will take a look and see if your AAC orientation can take some more tips. And if you have some other best practices that we have not highlighted in those resources, please share with us so we can share across the province some of the best practices that you may have, and we can share with others to make use of it.
Thank you very much for that. And we have used some items from your toolbox through our committee chair, and it's been great. There's a lot of good information there for our AAC. So thank you for that. Key initiatives for the MSAA leading to advanced accessibility in the province. What progress has been made so far?
So you know that AODA is reviewed every 3 years. And also we have made progress on developing standards in all key areas that were identified originally at the time when AODA was established. So all 5 standards have been developed and completed and implemented to date. As well as we have gone through the cyclical cycles of reviewing those standards and bringing the voice from the community through the SDC, Standards Development Committee, to make further updates on those standards. So if there are evolving needs of the communities, they're also reflected in the new standards. So there are 3 key areas of MSAA that currently we are focused. The creation of a new volunteer group. So this is a result from the recommendations that were received through the 4th legislative review that took place last year. The creation of a new volunteer group comprised of people with disabilities to provide their experience and feedback on accessibility issues. So, we are working on that, and, later this year, you will be receiving a call where we are asking people with disabilities across the province, not just GTA, not just the urban areas of the province, but from rural areas as well as um, taking into consideration geographical representation, but also diversity that exists among disability communities. This user group will allow us to seek the feedback and their experiences around accessibility and AODA to understand the evidence that what progress has been made throughout the province. We're also working on enhancement of evacuation process for persons with disabilities in government-owned and leased buildings, because safety of persons with disability is still a very key component of making sure people with disabilities are able to be evacuated safely, similar to others, those without disabilities, in case of an emergency. And we are also incorporating accessibility standards in all government procurement completed through Supply Ontario. So these recommendations resulted from the fourth legislative review. And we are also taking into consideration of the rest of the recommendations and working across other ministries within the Ontario government to implement the key recommendations that came forward. Also, I like to highlight the work that standards development committees who are responsible for reviewing existing accessibility standards and proposing new ones. So we have currently a design of public spaces standards committee that has finished its work and has submitted the recommendations to the minister. And soon we will be posting those recommendations to seek public input before they're finalized. Customer service standards committee is also working on reviewing the existing customer service standards and bringing in recommendations to bring them to date with any new changes that may be required as we see new scenarios or new areas of improvement and strengthening the customer service standards. So we are working across the government and engaging with sector stakeholders to thoughtfully consider the recommendations received through the reports, but also through the feedback from the municipalities and other partners who may have identified some gaps or areas for improvement. AAC will be made aware of any new feedback that we are seeking through when the initial reports are submitted. So I think that's a very high level overview of what we are working on at the moment. But I also like to plug in the AODA toolbox that currently we produce 4 times a year. And in there, we highlight the best practices or the initiatives that you can expect, sort of such as compliance reporting requirements or any AAC fall forum that is coming in near future. So I will encourage you to subscribe to that toolbox if you haven't already done so, but also if there are any best practices or any accomplishments you want to share, please send it to that email that is subscribe into the AODA toolbox. Oh, that is identified in the AODA toolbox. And please subscribe so you stay current to what's happening within MSAA and our partners.
Thank you so much, Manu, for that overview. And the toolbox is wonderful. There's a lot of great information and material there, and it's a great way to share and to get information to our own municipality AACs. So thank you very much. And just to wrap it up, and from where you sit, where do you see the future trajectory of accessibility in our province? And where are we going, and how do we get there?
That's a very good question, and I'm glad that you asked. So, like I said, since the AODA was passed, the government has collaborated on many occasions with the disability communities, businesses, and other internal and external strategic partners to develop accessibility standards, resources, and the tools that will help us furthering accessibility within the province. The main goal of the act is to achieve accessibility in Ontario by 2025 by developing, implementing, and enforcing these standards. So glad to say and repeat that we have done that. Last standards that came into effect was in 2021, and we are continuing to do audits, verifications, making sure the multi-year plans are, being prepared by the different sectors, including municipalities, and implemented to improve accessibility within their local communities. But we also are very mindful and aware that accessibility is an evolving journey. And we have come far, but we have a long way to go. And it will continue to change as expectations of Ontarians with disabilities continue to evolve. So it is not an end journey at 2025. It is an evolving journey to be moving beyond 2025 and for the rest of our lives. As such, we will continue to review AODA regularly to make sure that we reflect those changes in our ongoing commitment and work beyond 2025 and consider new accessibility standards or amend the existing one. But also on personal note, as a leader, I will really encourage you to look beyond accessibility. Look towards creating inclusive experiences for persons with disabilities. Accessibility is the minimum standard. Inclusion is the end goal where we all can participate in the life that a city or a community has to offer without experiences any barriers or any, whether they're attitudinal, structural, and with dignity, we can access those barriers and feel included. But I think a culture of belonging should be our ultimate goal, where people with disabilities can contribute to their full potential and feel that they're part of their communities and they feel belonged. And I think that's the shift I see us moving towards, just not implementing and talking about accessibility standards or accessibility laws, but creating a culture of inclusion and belonging in our communities and communities at large.
So beautifully said. Thank you so much for that. And it is a journey, and it's not just accessibility, it is about inclusion for all. And that's what I think this committee is striving to do, to help bring that awareness to our city and to make us a little better than we were yesterday for tomorrow. So thank you very much, Manu, for your kind words and all of your insight and your information. It's wonderful. So thank you, and please stay on with us as we're going to have a few more talks from our committee members and just share some of the highlights that we've been able to achieve over the last little while and where we're going with our committee. So at this, I would like to call on Councillor Kelly to give us an overview of the gains we've made in the accessible parking zoning bylaw.
Thank you, Chair, and through the Chair. Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. Appreciate the time this afternoon from Toronto. Thank you. And it is National Accessibility Week, and a little bit of homework for myself. This week started in Canada in 1988, inspired by Rick Hansen, his Man in Motion tour, and this week is a great week for education, awareness, and inclusion. And I want to also thank the Mayor for his support, Mayor Ellis, and also to Councillors Brown and Millette, teammates of ours with City Council here today, supporting our ceremony this afternoon. So Councillor Enright Miller and Nicole asked me to speak on just some of the changes this committee has been able to do with partners from the city, and I'd like to share a positive story of collaboration between the Accessibility Advisory Committee and our Engineering and Development Services, and they're here this afternoon. Our previous consolidated bylaw contained nothing about accessible parking spots. You believe that? 2023, nothing in the bylaw about accessible parking lots. The committee goes to work in writing the current consolidated bylaws with the engineering department, with the city, included information about accessible parking. So the committee reviewed the requirements and that were set out. After reviewing that a minimum of 10% of the capacity of the parking areas here in the city of Belleville must be accessible. This would be a significant increase. The committee justified this in a memo by stating that the disability rate is increasing due to the aging population and medical challenges and treatments in our area. So the population of Belleville is close to 58,000 in the Quinte region. 220,000 people reside in this area. Using the Ontario rate, this means that approximately 13,272 people in Belleville and the area live with at least one disability. The population in Belleville is aging. Like many Canadian cities, this means that the disability rate will increase. Belleville's population is older than the provincial average, and the average age of residents is expected to increase. National data shows that as Canadian population ages, the disability rate increases to 47.4% for individuals 75 and older. Data and research provided evidence that as the disability rate increases for seniors, the severity of the disability also increases. Just makes sense. So lots of meetings and good conversation with the engineering department, and based on the feedback from the committee, the accessible parking provisions were amended. So this was a victory to reflect the integrated accessibility standards regulation. Parking standards plus an additional 1%. And I just want to show you, so total number of parking spaces, if you have between 1 and 12, the requirements is 1 space. So the city with this new game plan has stayed the same, but we're move up by a percentage point. For 13 to 100 parking spots in the city, we're now at 5%, provincial average is 4. And for 1,000 plus parking spots, we're up by the provincial average by 2%. So those are great gains, and that was all done by the 6 teammates here and those that came before us to make a difference with the city, and to have the colleagues at City Council and the city work so well with the Accessibility Committee was very impressive. So currently the city is undertaking a comprehensive parking study of downtown. This includes a resident survey which finished up last week, and we'll get the numbers in the next hopefully few weeks. Study was also contracted out to do parking counts, includes accessible parking spots. So the committee looks forward to working again with the engineering department here with the city of Belleville for moving forward again with another victory. So that's my report for you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kelly. That's great. And yeah, we're very pleased about the new consolidated bylaw, that we were able to have some input and positive input. And we thank city staff for listening to us and hearing what we had to say. The next item is another very important item, which is our Belleville Transit and the transit mapping that they're undertaking in the midst of. And I just want to give a little information, and we have the chair of Councillor Brown here has joined us. Thank you, Councillor Brown. She's chair of transit. And I have taken some of her words, and I have told her that I've used some of her words just to explain a bit about our transit system. So the Belleville Transit fleet consists of a combination of accessible coaches and 3 mobility buses. The regular coaches have accessibility features such as kneeling entrances with ramps, designated priority seating and securement for mobility devices, audio-visual announcements at all stops, and Belleville Transit offers a reduced fare option for individuals with disabilities to allow a support person to accompany an individual with a disability for free. Our Transit is committed to continuously upgrade both the conventional and specialized service options and provides the mobility buses for those individuals who are unable to transport themselves. An accessible fleet of 3 mobility buses is a key component in inclusivity and accessibility. The mobility call system has been upgraded to allow easier booking and pickup times, and we encourage any and all of our residents with any mobility issues and seniors to use the mobility service rather than the conventional coaches. The Transit's goal of integrating as many riders as possible on not only our accessible conventional transit fleet, but continuing to provide a parallel mobility system service for those citizens with different needs. The manager of transit service, Mr. Brad Strauss, will be speaking a little more about the new booking system a little later. So thank you for that. Now I would like to call on our committee members just to share some of our priorities for 2023 to 2027. First up, I would like to call on Jana and Jeremy to speak about our first annual Accessibility Excellence Award. So Jana and Jeremy, I turn it over to you.
Okay, so I'm Jana. Jeremy's going to talk about the formation of the Accessibility Award, and then I will do a follow-up on our achievements within that.
Hi, I'm Jeremy T. Davis, and it gives me great pleasure to be here today to talk a little bit to you about the formation of our first annual Accessibility Excellence Awards within the city of Belleville. I can remember that day when we all sat around the table, and you know, I was speaking with my fellow colleagues, and I was telling them, you know, some of my life experiences, some of the things that I had heard about in not only my broadcast and media career, but I have also experienced, and my family had experienced myself, you know, pertaining to issues surrounding that we had experienced within the community. But a light bulb came on, and again, I say it this way, not to take credit, because any work we do within the great walls of the city of Belleville is a collaborative effort. We do it together with the insight and the ingenuity of our councillor colleagues, city staff, mayor, and so on. But I thought, you know, and we led the discussion together of why not take any negative aspects that you might hear about that people experience, whether it's a situation where someone's denied for service or built environment issues, and turn it around and focus on not the negative, but focus on the positive and how far we have come in various sectors, including our business community, and our everyday individuals and champions that go the extra mile through their own vocation and ingenuity. And there, out of those discussions, as a committee, the first annual Accessibility Excellence Awards Initiative Program was born. And I just want to say, when you're starting, and I'll turn around so people in the gallery can see me too. My chair was just having an issue. Anyway, when a new initiative is born, you know, it sometimes takes baby steps, if I can say it that way. So we didn't want to, when you're forming a new initiative, we didn't want to, expect too high. And so we reached out. Jana will talk more of the specifics in just a moment. We reached out through a nomination process and had decided on various categories. Now, with each passing year, we hope to grow it exponentially, and have more categories perhaps and more people involved. But the first year, as I said, you don't know what to expect. And I think I can just say, and again, Jana will continue on this, being a broadcaster, they say you've only got a few moments. Well, once we get going. Anyway, we were pleasantly surprised, and we were, we received so much feedback and so many nominations, not only from the public, but from individuals themselves, that I can see this, we can see this together growing in leaps and bounds. And it just speaks volumes to how everyday citizens, everyday champions from all walks of life can make a difference. You may not think you're making a difference. You may not think you're worthy. So sometimes either do I, to be truthful. And my family has been through a lot, and so many families. But now was the time to reach out, celebrate the excellence in community, business, individuals, and it went into leaps and bounds, and I'm just looking forward to next year. And I'll speak a little more at the end with our presentation to the minister. But this opportunity, not only the opportunity to be on the Accessibility Advisory Committee, but the opportunity to serve, to give back to community, not just on these issues, but all issues. It's not a job for me, it's my life. It's what I want to dedicate my life to, working with a dynamic group, and together we make a difference. And now it gives me great pleasure to hand it over, sorry I ran over, to my esteemed colleague, Jana Colton, for more information on the actual winners, the nominees, and the program itself. Jana?
Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, we opened it up to the community throughout the fall for there to be nominations that would come in. We were surprised that we actually had 8 publicly nominated businesses and individuals that were nominated, and we thought for the first time that was pretty good for a start. So we deliberated carefully and went over each criteria, which wasn't easy, and some of them we ended up coming up with 5 honorable mentions and 3 winners, because it was touch and go with some of the nominees. So we held a public presentation of the announcements at the Restore, which was well attended. So the honorable mentions were the Hastings Resource Center, the Loyalist Veterinary Hospital, Peter Matwoyak, the Belleville Public Library, and Trenval Business Development Corporation. So they were each in different categories throughout what we were looking for. So the winners of the awards were, the not-for-profit award winner was the Habitat for Humanity. The commercial award winner was the Bayview Mall. And the individual award winner, who we were so glad to give to, was Lisa Cheshire, who's been working with the Accessibility Park to bring that inclusivity into the community. So we were pleased to give that to her. So Jeremy and Lucas, who was mentioned earlier, designed a certificate which was presented to each of the individuals. And there was also a plaque. I don't know if you can see it, Minister, but we developed a plaque that we're going to send to you, and it's the Office of the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility celebration of National Accessibility Week, and the date is on it. So these plaques were given to each of the different winners, and because it was successful, we will begin advertising again this fall. I've already had one person say, well, we should nominate this committee, and I'm going, well, that you need to get out there and you need to fill out the nomination forms, and we will accept self-nominations as well, but you know, it's really nice to be told that that you were nominated for something for what you've done by individuals as well. So it was a very first time, and I think we all felt that it went well, and it's something we're going to continue to do.
Thank you, Jan and Jeremy, and yes, all worthy recipients are winners, and those for honorable mentions, and it just helps us bring a spotlight to those people that are doing good things and following the guidelines, and we just hope more people partake, and this year will be even better. Hopefully we'll have a lot more. Thank you for that. Next, I would like to call on our other colleague here, Rick Williams, to talk about the first ever event, the Disability and Poverty in our community and ongoing strategies. Rick?
Thank you, Barb. The city doesn't have a direct role in the policy or programs related to poverty, but we do have a great interest. We share an interest in fairness and in the well-being of all citizens, particularly people with disabilities. And the poverty issue is primarily at the federal or provincial or on a municipal level, the upper tier, the county level. But we saw an area where we could have an impact and develop some innovation and get people some help in the short to medium term, and that is through expanding and strengthening the system of income tax clinics within the city. Belleville has a mixed system of clinics historically, primarily and well developed by Pensioners Concerned, which is mostly a seniors organization. They've been really done a good job in moving the ball forward and getting many people served. But as we look at other communities where they've taken a bold area on trying to have an outreach related to tax clinics, including all issues of poverty, including people with disability, that we see that they've been able to achieve great outcomes, serve more people, and serve them more broadly. And so we want to use the existing stakeholders to build on. There's no sense in trying to replace those who are enthusiastic and have a strong history. But we do want to, I think, help them grow the system. Most of these clinics are delivered and operated by volunteers. Those are volunteers who are trained by CRA, Canada Revenue Agency. We'll maybe expand that system, put some resources into expanding the number of clinics and location of clinics, work with others to try to bring a broader sense and serve more people. Just looking at the data in successful initiatives elsewhere, And one of those successful initiatives is the County of Prince Edward, and our coordinator, Nicole, is working closely with the Prince Edward people. They have seen an increase of proportionate to our population, which an increase which would have hundreds of people more served on tax filing, and potentially served in a number of other ways. Other areas that have done well are District of Muskoka, City of Hamilton, so we'll try to see their examples as well. Tax clinics are good places to start. You need to have a filed tax return in order to access many of the programs that are available, such as the HST credit, the carbon tax credit, the child tax credit, and many other types of programs. It also enables those who are eligible to apply for the disability tax, the relatively new disability tax credit. And then it also gets you a better sense of, I guess, connection to financial supports that could be available for you, such as food banks and other programs that people in poverty need to access. And the sad thing is, oftentimes in some communities, the most needy and deserving of people don't access the programs that are available. And so we'd like to right that. And so we see the role of this committee in not directly providing that, but in supporting, facilitating, working with existing organizations, broadening the availability of tax clinics, and serving more people as a result. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick, and it's just another way this committee is trying to bridge the gap and help people. So thank you very much, Rick. Next, I would call upon Janet to speak about employment and people with disabilities, and Rick may have some information as well to help you with that. Janet, it's all you.
Good afternoon. My name is Janet, and I'd like to share with you some of the initiatives and plans that Belleville has around accessibility and employment. I have multiple sclerosis, and my disability caused me to have to stop working. While there are many people like myself, there are also people with disabilities who are able to work, but at the same time unable to find employment. Some of them may need accommodations in the workplace or modified hours. While businesses are looking to hire, this population of our community is being excluded in some cases. Several businesses and firms have cited that they are unable to meet their business goals due to a shortage of trained employees. The city outlined in the multi-year accessibility plan that it will work with other business groups, such as the Quinte Employment Council and Belleville Chamber of Commerce, to advocate for the training and hiring of people with disabilities to fill these job vacancies. The Government of Ontario document titled The Path to 2025, Ontario's Accessibility Action Plan, states, "The challenge is getting businesses, particularly small and medium-sized firms that are largely responsible for new job creation, to step up and give qualified candidates with disabilities a chance to compete on a level playing field. The biggest hurdle we need to overcome is the misconceptions businesses hold about employees with disabilities." Advocating for the employment of people with disabilities is a timely issue. The new initiative is known as the Ontario Employment Services Transition Program. The city will work with the new service manager for this area to set goals that prioritize employment supports for persons with disabilities. AODO Coordinator Nicole Yancey and Victoria Watson, Economic Development, met to discuss ideas to improve the level of accessibility at the recent career fair. Economic Development is very interested in collaborating in other initiatives. Internally, in late 2022, monthly one-on-one meetings with city staff began. Staff were asked to indicate areas where they might need support and to trigger conversations that might identify accessibility issues to foster an inclusive, barrier-free culture. The multi-year accessibility plan identified a need for enhanced trauma services under Employee Assistant Plan for first responders in the fire department. Also, all current and future staff will be given an HR downloads account and assigned an AODA training bundle that covers training requirements in the Act. The city has committed to streamline accessibility and employment practices by integrating AODA standards into City of Belleville policies, review the recruitment policy and amend it to remove any systematic barriers and reflect AODA regulations, improve internal accessible customer service for staff, and develop and implement a workplace inclusion charter for the staff at the City of Belleville. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet, for that outline. And yes, the City of Belleville has really stepped up to be compliant in all aspects. Thank you for that report. And last but not least, I would like to have Jeremy just conclude our presentation and speak about our accessibility vision moving forward. But before you do, Jeremy, Mr. Manager Brad Strauss has just joined us, so I'm actually just going to let Brad do a little talk about the mobility buses before I finish with you. Is that okay? Thank you.
I was waiting.
Yeah. Hello, Brad, and thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, and Brad is going to speak to us a bit about the mobility buses and the new system implementation. So the floor is yours, Brad. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so I'll start with a little background of the previous system. We launched Saturday the new mobility software system. So in the past, dispatch averages approximately 60 calls per day, with each call averaging 5 to 10 minutes in length. That's about 480 minutes on new phone call bookings a day. Divide that by 60 minutes, you've got 8 hours of booking time that our dispatchers are tied up. This does not include calls that come into voicemail that need to be returned, as well as driver radio contract and scheduling duties. The old system uses manually printed driver manifests, where the rides at the beginning of the shift may change as the day progresses, resulting in dispatchers having to reach out to drivers via radio and adjusting multiple schedules to accommodate. Also providing room for error in missing updating the pickup driver in time. Any cancellations needed to be called out to the driver and contact made with the next pickup passenger to let them know we'll be arriving early, or resulting in driver downtime. Any missed or canceled rides cannot be immediately filled, resulting in system inefficiencies. With changes or cancellations in the system, multiple drivers and rider times are impacted. The new system will allow riders to book via an app or desktop or call into dispatch. Riders with online capabilities will be able to log in and verify the ride schedule, as well as any future bookings they can confirm at that time as well, without having to call into dispatch. Over the past 3 days on the new system, call-in booking times have reduced from 5 to 10 minutes to under 5. Mobility bus operators will now be working off a tablet in their new vehicle with route guidance, rider notes, and exact scheduling times. No more printed manifests, and are usually not accurate in less than 2 hours from their shift with those printed manifests. Riders with texting and emailing capabilities will now be texted or emailed with reminders of rides, including pickup and drop-off times. Rides will have a 20-minute window booking time with a 5-minute scheduled wait built in for the driver, at which time the rider needs to be at their ride pickup location. Otherwise, the bus will move on to the next pickup or drop-off location. Riders with online or app access will be able to track and view their bus movement and arrival in real time, the same as an Uber for those who are familiar. The new system operates under a real-time GPS system, making arrival times more accurate and also allowing for other bus to be a dispatch should the current bus scheduled for the pickup run into a delay. The system itself is continuously optimizing for the greatest efficiency. For delays that cannot be compensated for, such as a bus going out of service, an alert will be sent to both dispatch and the rider informing them. With the new system, as rides drop off the system due to no-shows, late cancellations, etc., new rides can be added to the system in real time without any disruption to the riders and no radio calls having to go out to inform drivers to changes in their printed schedules. In the first 3 days of running the new system, radio contact with drivers has decreased 95% between dispatch and the drivers, allowing our dispatchers much needed time to attend to new bookings and easier adjustments to driver schedules. The system allows office administration and dispatchers to know where all drivers are at all times, and in cases of discrepancies with riders, we can immediately access exact times where we were and where we were at when we left, picked up, and drop off destinations. An example of this morning, a rider had a ride booked for a window of 9:15 to 9:35. The bus arrived at 9:25, and the tablet had the driver in a hold pattern at the location till 9:35, at which time they declared a rider a no-show and moved on to the next pickup location. The rider called dispatch at 9:45 saying the bus didn't show up. We confirmed with the rider that it was in fact there and at their scheduled pickup time. The rider said their PSW was late, so that's why they missed their pickup. In this case, we were able to book a new ride for the passenger from 10 to 10:20, as there was another late cancellation called in, and we were immediately able to fill it with this ride. We are currently undergoing a soft launch of the system, where we are getting our dispatchers familiar with the new system. We are onboarding select riders to test the self-booking system and monitoring their experience. Once we are comfortable with the new system, we will be reaching out to communications to promote the new system. As well, we are completing a video tutorial for riders, walking them through how to book online and via the app themselves, as well as printed literature. We'll be working with the Accessibility Committee to help reach out to riders and groups, assisting us with training them on doing self-booking to those that are able. The new system has numerous KPIs that we will be able to track daily and monthly, monitoring the service. We will now be able to accurately measure the number of completed rides, total number of riders that use the system, as well as late cancellations and no-shows that directly impact our service standards. With the new changes to the conventional route system and having to build efficiency into it by making more direct routes, as well as spacing out our bus stops to an industry standard 500-meter distance, we do anticipate an increase in our mobility system usage, and these KPIs will allow us to gauge when growth of the mobility system is needed by tracking unaccommodated rides. With conventional 40-foot diesel buses phased out of production, leaving only the option of hybrid electric battery and electric bus vehicles available at purchase costs of $1.2 million for an HEV and $1.5 million for a battery electric. As an asset management plan goes, it is not feasible to operate a door-to-door conventional service and to continue to grow our mobility service, which at the current time offers vehicle purchases of $190,000 and allows us to more effectively grow the mobility system, as well as accommodate the recent expansion of the mobility service into Ward 2. That was a quick rundown.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot. There is a lot in it.
There's a lot.
What I can say is we've been running it, as I said, since Saturday. The crossover time is a little, it'll be a little bit confusing for the first week as we transition the rides from the old system to the new system. With the new system, though, we're able to monitor and track everything immediately. So the improvements should be noticed quite quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss. We're very excited, as you know, at the accessibility level, and we've championed this, and you've been
For sure.
keeping us informed, and we're so excied with the new system, and we'll be right there with you, seeing how it plays out.
It's working really well with the test users that we've got. All have been very eager, and I understand that not all riders will have access to a computer or phone. The riders that do have been more than willing to sign in and find that it's a very simple system to use. They've been booking their rides, canceling rides, which is in fact saving us a lot of time with my dispatchers as well as our drivers. So the past few days have been probably night and day for levels of service that we've experienced. So
Wonderful news. Thank you so much for the report. We appreciate it very much.
right.
Thank you. So Jeremy, as we bring our celebration to a close, we'll ask Jeremy to speak about the accessibility vision we have moving forward. If you would, Jeremy, thank you.
My pleasure. Chair Henry Miller. Now, as you heard through the various presentations today from all our committee members, the mayor, city staff, and so on, we have a very ambitious agenda. We have a lot of, we have made a lot of achievement in a short period of time, but we do have a lot of work left to do in front of us. And it's very exciting to know that. Now we have our brand new multi-year accessibility plan that we will be implementing in the timely fashion through the various departments, as we talked about, encompassing all the things that even the minister was speaking about in her keynote address, meaning transit, as Brad just mentioned, meaning surrounding built environment and customer service, and all the things that help ensure to build a more inclusive community, not only here, but across the province, and dare I say, as this is National Accessibility Week across this great country. You know, one of the things that was mentioned earlier by, well, every one of you are friends and colleagues, in my opinion, and I hope you feel that way too, regardless of if it's on this committee or in other committee work that I have done or we have done together. But it was mentioned by Councillor Kelly a bit about the history of this very important, very prestigious week, founded by Rick Hansen, the man in motion. My brother Joshua and I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Rick and having him on our show. And if he's not just one testament to the Canadian spirit that drives us all in wanting to succeed, wanting to build a better tomorrow for each one of us, I don't know who is. And, you know, it's one of our many memories that I will remember the rest of our life. I have to turn so the gallery can see. But what I want to do in closing, before I call my fellow committee members up, and also Councillor Enright Miller, who's the chair of Belleville's Accessibility Advisory Committee this term, is I just want to say, you know, we've been talking presenting all afternoon about building a barrier-free community, Ontario and Canada, based upon our mandate and objective as set out by the AODA. You know, I just want to say that we hope, and I hope, it's not me as an individual, but just to put a bit of my hope in there for you, to light the fire of people watching in the gallery or watching at home. You know, we want to make you and make the community at large understand that everyone has the ability to be what they want to be. Everyone has the ability to contribute. So if you want to be someone who works in the community sector at any job, that you will have that opportunity. If someday you dream, like I have, nothing against the current mayor or administration. If you want to be the mayor of a municipality, if you want to be represented and not be known for just because, oh, you're sitting down, oh, that can't be possible. I want to tell, and we want to tell everyone in this room, beyond, and everyone watching around the world that it is possible, that representation at every level, despite what walk of life you come from or circumstance, that tomorrow is a new day. We're here for you. We're advocating for you. It's going to happen, and just hold on to hope. In closing, I just want to say, I want to thank each and every one of you in the gallery for coming out today. I want to thank Mayor Ellis. I want to thank this esteemed committee and our fellow councillor representatives. It really means a lot that you're here today. If I can take one more moment before the presentation of the certificate. I'm sorry for being a little long, but today I have the distinct pleasure of having my family sitting here in the gallery with me. As many of you know, around this horseshoe, my dad is in the battle of his life. He's in stage 4 cancer. I only bring this up because I want people to know, and I want Dad to know, and others to know, and my family, my brother Joshua, my brother Will, everyone, my mother, my sister, everyone. We're helping to lay the groundwork, the future for tomorrow. It was very inspiring to listen to each and every one of you. The best is yet to come. I don't plan to stop, not only on this committee, but whatever opportunities lie ahead. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means more than my words can ever express. And I just want each and every one of you to know that everything's going to be okay, and tomorrow's a better day, and you're all champions, and thank you, and God bless you. Now, I want to ask our chair and Councillor Kelly, as well as any of the committee, to come over, if possible, so we can, I'll turn around, we'll get us a picture if the media wants to. And we have a little extra token for the minister, okay? And we thought that we look forward to meeting you someday in person. Perhaps Premier Ford or your other provincial colleagues will be able to join you. And as we move forward, okay, Councillor Ann Wright Miller has the certificate. it's just a certificate of appreciation, Minister, for your contribution to our first ever National Accessibility Week celebration within the City Council chambers. And this is the dynamic group. This is the group responsible. We thank you for all you do. Thank you for your inspiration. And we can't say enough. And okay, we're just waiting for Karen Kitchens. So, because
Yeah, she's gonna go right behind you.
Minister Seacon, we will send you the certificate, and we have a plaque for your attendance today, and we so appreciate you joining us and sharing with us today. And we hope that we've inspired you a little bit, so we know that the Belleville Accessibility Committee is committed to our environment here in Belleville and working with our accessibility and our seniors, and hopefully we can share our knowledge with you, and we will certainly take anything you can share to us. And we thank you so much for joining us today.
Good job today. Do you want to, we're going to get a
Thank
picture.
you so much. I look forward to coming and visiting you. Mhm.
One sec, can we hold this up?
I think you've tugged at all of our heartstrings, and we wish your family and your father nothing but good health, and our prayers and thoughts are with you all. And we thank you. And I would just like to thank each and every one of you who took the time today to attend, and especially Deputy Minister Minu Seekand, for all of her dedication to the accessibility community and her knowledge and inspiration to us, and to my fellow committee members and Nicole Yancey joining us live stream, for all of your hard work, and for the staff for making this event happen. We have a wonderful accessibility cake to commemorate our day today, and I invite you all to stay for cake and coffee. And if anyone has any further questions for the minister, please direct them to our committee, and we will certainly get them to her for answer. And once again, thank you all for coming. It's been a wonderful afternoon to share insight and inspiration. And please remember, working together, we can create change. So thank you very much, everyone.